Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. Before we get into the reading, I just want to mention that I do have a few new services available, a couple new offerings. I'm going to leave the information in the description box below. You can click on the link and, again, read more into it to see if it's something that speaks to you. Also, this, of course, is a general reading, so if you would like a personalized reading, then of course book some time with me and we'll take a deeper dive into your own personal energies. Okay, so as always, first we're going to look at the energy for the collective. And remember, when I say collective, that includes you, that includes me. We're all part of the collective. So when I go over the collective energy, it's energy that has the potential to influence us individually as well as collectively. So it's actually really important information. So first I'll go through that for August, and then I will get into the specific life path forecast. Let's go ahead and get started. So we are looking at August 2021, and August ushers in a 13-4 cycle. So this is a 4 universal energy. So collectively and individually, we could all feel the influences of this energy in a myriad of ways. 13-4 energy, there's so much I can say about this energy, so I'll try to keep this as brief as possible, but there's just so much potentially to come in this month, so I want to make sure you're aware of it. So 13-4 energy is the vibration of the divine feminine and Mother Earth, okay? So kind of keep that in mind as we move through this reading. The divine feminine, of course, being an energy. It doesn't matter if you're male or female, we all have divine feminine and divine masculine energies from within. And there's also those divine feminine and divine masculine energies without. So just kind of keep that in mind. But 13-4 energy is the vibration of the divine feminine and Mother Earth. So at its core, this energy is very intuitive, very nurturing, and receptive energy. However, it's very nuanced in its layers, and you sort of need to sift through those layers to reach that vibration. And so what I mean by that is, think harmony through chaos or harmony through conflict. So yes, this is a very nurturing and supportive, beautiful energy, but it's also a bit of sort of tough love at first. This 13-4 energy will, in one way or another, show us exactly where our mess is and insist that we take responsibility for it and clean it up before we can essentially move forward. So it's like needing to do our chores first before we can go outside and play. So if there are deeds left undone within your life or faults within the foundation, this energy will highlight those areas and really push you towards sort of making the appropriate adjustments so that you don't remain in an unhealthy cycle. So this is a very practical, real-world, grounded energy. We are all sort of really looking at the tangibles here: relationships, career, actions, material goods, resources, laws, belief systems, structures, including our own personal structure, i.e. our body, mind, and spirit, right? So during a 13-4 cycle, we're really being faced with the polarities of our own personal experience, and we're being asked to find our own harmonious center within those polarities. So you may see things surface this month personally as well as on the global stage that, again, are those polarities, and we're being asked to find that center. So when you're faced with some kind of polarization that makes you feel off kilter or out of sorts energetically and physically, that is an indicator for you to work on finding the balance that equalizes the energy for you. Okay, you don't have control over the external, but you do have control over finding your own center and sort of internalizing and realizing what that feels like for you. And yes, you're probably going to fall off that, from that center many times, right? As you move forward. But at least you'll have an understanding of what that center feels like, and you can continue to find your way back to it. Finding your center will be personal for you and unique for every person, right? So it may take a little bit of trial and error, but basically that's where the work lies and where the energy is trying to steer you towards. So figuring out where that center is for you, okay, that's the work. So the nurturing, intuitive, loving, harmonious energy of this 13-4 cycle resides within that center space. So when you find that center, that's what's waiting there for you, right? And so, like I said, yes, we fall, on either side of that center, sometimes well beyond that center, many, many times throughout our lifetime, and as we continue to progress and move forward and evolve. But it's in finding that center and finding that harmony and that balance and those calm waters that we realize, again, what it feels like, and then how we start to understand the process of getting back to that center when we start to feel polarized again, okay? And that this 13-4 energy is going to assist you in doing that. So 13-4 cycles can initiate a karmic beginning of some kind or some kind of karmic conclusion. So 13-4 energy can be very karmic, basically. So again, you may see some kind of karmic situation initiated at this time, or some kind of karmic conclusion or ending. So you may find people or experiences entering or exiting your life at this time. If they're entering, then you will begin a cycle of sort of working towards clearing that karmic debt. And the challenges that you face at this time will assist you in that process. If you're ending a karmic cycle at this time, you may see an influx of rewards coming in your way, right? And that person or experience that was involved in that karmic, payment may exit your life, or you may feel the energy sort of shift to where it no longer feels quite so challenging or so much like work. So whether or not you believe in karma, our souls came here for growth and expansion, and the soul contracts that we have with others help to facilitate and at times accelerate that expansion. So you may see a soul contract be initiated or completed at this time. 13-4 energy is incredibly beautiful and supportive energy. I just want to reiterate that, especially in our evolution forward. It will, however, ask us to be very, very honest with ourselves when it comes to finances, resources, relationships, habits, mindsets, actions, and so on and so forth. So anything you've been trying to avoid up to this point could come in front and center of your awareness now to be dealt with, once and for all, or at least initiated. And, the beautiful aspect of 4 energy is that you will most certainly, most definitely get out of the experience whatever it is that you put into it. So you get to decide where within your life needs a little bit of tender loving care, needs some remodeling. This is a perfect cycle to begin, right? These energetic and these physical projects, this is a great energy, a great cycle to start those projects. So one final note I want to make is this is a great cycle to make time to truly ground yourself, to spend extra time in nature, and surround yourself with the many gifts and blessings of Mother Earth. Because again, this is her energy. This is her cycle. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the individual life path forecast for August. Okay, life path number 5. So I pulled an animal spirit card for you all, and you all got gray owl. And so what's interesting with this is I feel like for some of you, because obviously this is a general reading, but I feel like things might have been sort of heavy or felt sort of heavy for you for a little while, or like you needed clarity around something that you were trying to do, or that you were kind of walking through a fog. It's almost like you had a vision to do something, you were determined to do something, but it was almost like you couldn't see more than 2 feet ahead of you, right? Like the next 2 steps, like you couldn't see beyond that. And I feel like this month, a couple of things. You're going to get some clarity. Things are going to be illuminated. But there's also this aspect of needing to be really honest with yourself, or really honest with others as far as what you need, what needs to take place within the circumstances or the experience or the relationship in order to move it forward. And it may be that what you figure out or what you see, that clarity that comes in, might not be necessarily what you wanted to see, but it will make sense to you. Like it will feel energetically aligned, right? Even if like physically, egoically, it's like you would like things to stay the same, or you wanted things to go in a different direction. I feel like you're going to get some really crisp, clear clarity. Say that 3 times. No, crisp, clear clarity at this time, but just be open to what comes in, because I feel like it may look a little bit differently than what you had anticipated, and it may feel a little bit more challenging at the start. So it's almost like the clarity comes in and you're like, oh man, okay, this is going to be some work. I got to do some work here, right? And that's just being honest with yourself, that it's not going to necessarily just snap your fingers and whatever this is comes into fruition. Again, collectively, we're working with 4 energy, and 13-4 energy to boot. So nothing is just sort of handed over. It's like the effort put forth is in direct proportion to what you receive, type thing. And so I feel like when this clarity comes in for you this month, I do feel like it's going to be a realization that you need to step up and step into whatever this is and really put forth the effort. And that might be uncomfortable at first, but this new perspective, this clarity will give you insight into how to move forward. And once you start that process, I feel like it's going to all kind of come together and make sense, and you'll kind of see why you're being asked to put all this effort in the first place, if that makes sense. So interesting message from Owl Spirit, but that's definitely what's coming in. So okay, so I broke the month down into 4 weeks. We start the month off with the first week with this energy of like, again, definitely seeing around like something you've been working on that you've sort of been struggling with. And again, it can be relationships. It does feel sort of creative. So it may be more around like purpose or career or whatever, but it could very well be about relationships as well. But it's almost like something that you've been really had your focus on, you've been working towards, you've had the calling to pursue. It's like things have just been kind of challenging around that, or you kind of just feel like you make 2 steps forward and then it's like 5 steps back, and then 2 steps forward and then 5 steps back. And really the energy that's coming in here is you're on the right path with this. You just need to, again, keep going, and it may take a little bit more of persistence and resilience from you to accomplish whatever this is. So it's kind of like getting the strength card in tarot. It's like, that pulling from that inner strength. And if you know that what you're pursuing is in alignment with you, then keep going, even though you're facing some obstacles and things aren't completely clear just yet. Because I do feel like things are going to open up for you. And again, they're going to make more sense. Not saying it's necessarily going to be all downhill from there. I think that you're going to have to continue to put in the effort. But it will make a lot more sense, I feel like, this month. So just whatever it is that you've really been putting your energy into, and maybe you've been feeling really defeated or losing hope around whatever this is, I feel like the call is here. If it feels aligned, if it feels, internally aligned for you, then don't give up on it just yet, because I think you just need to continue to pull from your inner strength on this and to surrender and trust a bit, and understand that it's a partnership with the universe. And so really lean into that divine timing and understand, as long as you do your part, you will be given what is yours. Okay. Second week. Okay. This, I'm definitely seeing that energy around karmic energy, a karmic cycle. So this could be a karmic cycle beginning or a karmic cycle closing, but I do feel like it's very much around relationships. So you could have someone enter your life at this time, a soulmate, a karmic relationship, something like that. I do feel like it's karmic. Just again, there's just so much energy around the karma at this time, or those soul contracts. Again, if that's whichever you subscribe to. But there's definitely a soul contract coming in at this time, and it doesn't have to be romantic. It does feel around relationships, but it can be like a friendship, colleagues, work environment, parental, whatever, you name it. But definitely some kind of contract coming in. So just pay attention to the relationships that enter your life at this time. Or if there was a relationship, again, that was very challenging, and this could go back to that first week, if there was a relationship for you that was very challenging, but that it felt like it needed to be in your life at this time, like you were still feeling pulled in that direction, I feel like if you've been putting forth the effort to do the work, to do the emotional work, to do the physical work, whatever the case may be, I feel like this, for some of you, is going to be that karmic completion, where you're going to see things get much easier around this relationship, and there's sort of being a lot of healing and coming together around this. Or, with the completion, you could also see this relationship sort of fall away. But if that's the case, then it will happen very organically and naturally. There may be, might be a little bit difficult at first, but I feel like it will make sense to you if all of a sudden it kind of comes to completion. Even if it's a little bit difficult to deal with that loss, I feel like it's not gonna like blindside you, right? Like you're gonna recognize, like, okay, yeah, this needed to end. And if that's the case, then that, just understand that is that soul contract being completed, or that karmic cycle being cleared. So definitely seeing that coming in very, very strongly around that second week. Third week, I'm really getting this really strong energy around, I guess the question is, where within your life do you feel like you continue to self-sabotage yourself? Not shame yourself, right? Like, we don't want to be like, oh, okay, like I didn't meet all of my deadlines today, so I'm going to shame myself because I'm self-sabotaging. I'm talking about like when your soul wants to say yes to something and you sabotage that because you don't feel ready, or you don't feel good enough, or you don't feel worthy enough, or you don't feel like you're deserving enough, or whatever the case may be. So it kind of comes back to those mindsets. So the question is really, where is it that you are holding your own self back? Not where somebody else is holding you back, but where you are continue to say no when your soul wants to say yes. And it's a feeling, it's like, you want to do whatever this is, but there's also this element of fear, or this element of, I'm not good enough, or why would they want me, or why I'm not capable of doing this, whatever the case may be. Insert, shameful message here. But it's kind of like, that's what's coming into focus at this time, is where it is that you are self-sabotaging through the stories we tell ourselves in the mind, right? Or the ego trying to protect us. And so I feel like it's going to be very clear for you what needs to end here, and, where you need to stop self-sabotaging, because you're actually holding yourself back from progressing forward. And a lot of times when this energy comes in, where it's a very clear indication, okay, you need to make the effort to adjust here and make some changes so that you don't continue along this path. Or this is typically when the next stage would be like in tarot, would be like seeing the tower energy, where the universe conspires to sort of come in and make that change in some way for you, right? And it's usually much more uncomfortable to have that happen. So it's kind of like, it's almost like you're being given the invitation at this point, where it's like, okay, this is very, and then again, we go back to Owl's message. You know, owls see best at night. They see best, you know, they're night hunters. So they're going to have very clear focus and clear vision in the shadows, like at night. And so it's almost this energy of like, what shadow work do you have to work through at this time, or at least start to work through, so that you can clear this energy, so that you can move through this? Because, and I think it's going to become very apparent to you where that is or what that is. And it's up to you what you do with it. But I will say, you know, 9 times out of 10, what I typically see is when the invitation is given and we choose to continue down the same path, that's usually when we see that tower energy come in, where it's like the universe is like, we need to intervene here. We need to do an intervention, because you're not meant to continue down this path. You were meant to have the experiences on this path, but you've had those experiences. It's time to have a detour and shift directions. And so I just feel like this 3rd week, you could be getting a very clear invitation as far as what needs to be worked on, right? Like what shadow work needs to be cleared, worked on, etc., where you're holding yourself back. The 4th week, it's interesting, because it's kind of like, wherever that is, that, you know, that you're self-sabotaging, and you get that clear indication that this is where we need to make some adjustments. This is where, you know, this is what needs to end. It's interesting, because it's like, if you can make that initiation, if you can start that process, you'll be surprised at how quickly you start getting new opportunities, or you start to feel very supported in doing whatever it is that your soul wants to say yes to. It's almost immediate. Like, I'm really seeing that energy, like the initiation comes, or the invitation comes that 3rd week. And by the 4th week, you're starting to get, you know, if you choose to, you know, engage and take that step to be like, okay, I need to work on this. It's like, you don't even have to have completed the healing or completed the process. It's just like, as soon as you can commit to it, that's the word, commit. Once you commit to that healing, or saying, you know what, I know this is an issue. I know I'm self-sabotaging. I know I'm holding myself back. I'm going to make a change. It's almost like, as soon as you commit to do that, by the 4th week, you start seeing opportunities coming in for you that are very supportive, that are helping you to, you know, accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish here. And it may start out kind of small. They might come in as like little breadcrumbs, but you'll start to see, again, like the whole universe conspiring to assist you in making that change. Because again, the universe is not punitive and doesn't want to like work against you. So it's not like, if you choose to make this change, you're going to be supported, basically. If you choose not to make the change, then you can probably anticipate down the road you're going to have some kind of a tower moment to shift the energy. So I hope that makes sense, but I feel like whatever it is that sort of comes to completion, or again, whatever it is that you embark on, where you're like committed to healing or clearing things up, and that could even be like karmically, I think as soon as you commit to that, you're going to see the beautiful things start coming in that really support you in this new path, right? Or on this new path. So you guys have some interesting energy this month. It's a lot of healing, I think, a lot of internal stuff coming in. But it's interesting, because going back to that 2nd week, I feel like that relationship that comes in for you, especially, you know, if it's kind of karmic, is meant to assist you, right? Whether you're closing out that karmic cycle or you're entering into a new karmic cycle, it's meant to assist you on this path forward. So it's the energy almost reads like a story this month. It's like, you know, you're at the beginning of the month, you're being told, make sure that you're pulling from your inner strength. You know, 2nd week of the month, karmic cycle begins or karmic cycle ends. 3rd week, you're like really being invited to do some deeper healing around some self-sabotage. And then fourth week, you're seeing those beautiful sort of gifts come in for just simply for initiating and committing to whatever this is. So it's interesting, the energy this month for you all fives. But it's beautiful nonetheless, and it's really helping you in your, again, forward movement. So, all right, well, I hope it's a beautiful August for you all. I know it's going to be a powerful one. Definitely harness the energy the best that you can and try to work with it the best that you can. Just remember, it's all meant to assist you, okay? So take care, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.